So life isn't always a straight line. I mean, there's a maze right in front of us, and our target is to figure out our way out. It only makes sense to me that we don't go in alone. So this is me stretching out my hand to you. So we figure out this thing called life together while we look up to God regardless. You are now listening to the Chidera podcast. Hey my people, TCO here, and we're officially back from our mid-season break. I really did miss you guys. I actually like doing this thing, guys. Over the break, I realized, I had this mind shift that this podcast isn't only for you guys, it's also for myself. The whole process of recording, researching, basically putting out podcast episodes, I really do like it. I'm able to, learn so much, and I just really do like the process. And it's also really good to know that someone out there is taking one or two from my podcast. I'm able to impact somehow, even if it's in this, I'm able to impact someone out there. And it just makes me smile that somehow someone out there is plugged listening to TCO spit germs. Basically, and it's just a really good thing to know. So we're officially back, and I just hope that we're able to have an awareness that podcasts should really go, on mid-season breaks. They should be able to take breaks, able to come back stronger and finish the season in the best way possible. So hope you guys know that now and everything. So so for season 1 we have 21 episodes. So we're currently recording episode 16. This is currently episode 16, and we have 5 more to go to wrap up the season, and you guys are in for a good ride, hopefully. So where have we been? What's been on our mind? And all that. So, thinking about the topic I wanted to talk to you guys today was born out of reflection, not necessarily reflection. I would say it was born out of reflection. I just felt this need. The Holy Spirit laid it in my heart to talk about this, especially when, going into the second half of the year, transiting from the first half to the second half. Even when we literally just went from June to July, but you get making someone listening to this end the year well, or was still able to make the best out of this year somehow. So there was just this need for me to talk about this, this whole season, this whole new first half and all that. There was just this need for me to talk about this particular topic, and I just hope, and I know this is for someone, because it was just so pressing in me to just talk about. So hopefully someone out there, this is for you. Okay, so now let's get right into the episode. So I like to believe that the whole point of living is winning. The reason why we're constantly trying to be this or to be this is because no one wants to lose out of life. Our mind is programmed that see you, jazz up, nobody wants to be caught on fresh. Everyone wants to make sure that they are winning in some way, shape or form. Be it everyone wants to get the best relationship, keep climbing up the ladder in their career, having the best friendships. All that is just because, our minds are programmed to always want to win in life in some way. I know success differs with people, but basically you just want to try and make sure you're not losing out in any way, shape or form. But there's a mind shift that we are actually our greatest project. And, the work we're putting in so much, into a career, a relationship, we should also try to, put it in ourselves and work on ourselves. And then every other thing just respects, every other thing just somehow seemingly blends in perfectly, if you get what I mean. So the topic I want to talk about today is forgiveness and all the nitty-gritty related to it. So this is a topic that I necessarily didn't always like to talk about. Not because I have an unforgiving spirit or anything, but just because I just feel like it's not that hard. Is it that hard? Forgive your neighbor when they're wrong, you forgive. I know it's quite funny because people have actually done really, hurtful things to other people. So how can I be saying you just this? But I just thought that I don't feel always talking about forgiveness. I always thought talking about forgiveness is because they have a problem and they just don't have a forgiving heart. That's why they are talking about it with so much passion. Like, forgiveness always require a connection. They always shout it and all that. So, I have this Monday fellowship with beautiful women of God. So we pray and discuss the Bible on Mondays. And I noticed that anytime forgiveness is being talked about, there's so much passion in them, when talking about it. And I'm like, these girls, when I mean so much passion, they're talking about maybe how God has, helped them through forgiveness and all that. So I don't know. I didn't really see so much to it. I just felt that if they wrong you, just forgive. God knows best. God will fight your fight. It's not in the Bible and all that. But I'm also discovering that forgiveness is way more than just this girl stole my pen, my best friend stole my money, and I'll forgive her, but I'll cut her off. There's so much more to forgiveness than just that. Some of us are having are living a certain way, are like manifestation of bad habits, but some of us are living in bad habits or are exhibiting certain characters because of a trauma, and that's all because of unforgiveness. Let me explain better with a movie I watched. So I've really been watching a lot of Nollywood movies on YouTube. Netflix used to be the to go, but YouTube these days, they are trying, I'm not even joking. So I saw this one with my family members sometime in May. Yeah. So it was about this girl. I don't know if you guys have probably seen it, but this girl, she was a rich man's daughter. So her father was so rich. But this girl had serious anger issues. She's always, she's always angry. She's as per not the normal type of anger, as per she can beat a man. If you annoy her, she's going to slap you. She was just always a nuisance. And her father always had to come and take her out of the police station or repair someone's car. Her father always had to do something, you get, and everything. So, you know how Nollywood movies these days are really good because there's always a take home. Back in the day, it's always all this, they don't really have. The take home is so obvious, but this time the take home was really, really profound, honestly. So at the end of everything, the end of the movie, so the girl did therapy, and she finally asked, because she finally said she was going to go to therapy, and it turns out that the reason why she always throws tantrums like that and is always angry and so impulsive was because when growing up, her parents never gave her so much attention, and it's only when she got into a fight with someone in her class, that her parents came to school. So she always felt like each time she throws tantrums or, tries to find, her parents always come to her. So I do believe she didn't do this. She wasn't, in her old age, she wasn't fighting for her father to come to her. She was fighting because, how will I put it, it's already part of her. She necessarily didn't forgive her parents because her parents never even knew this is what they did to their daughter, so she had not forgiven her parents or for what they did to her and everything. So she was already living in living in the side effects of unforgiveness that she didn't even know it was affecting her in her old age. And it's so funny how a lot of us are exhibiting certain behaviors, and that's because we do not even know it's because of a lack of forgiving spirits. It's so much, it's so deep. Forgiveness does a whole lot for us, more than it does for anybody. Because the effects of unforgiveness doesn't wear off on other people. It wears off on us. Examples of, things that would lead you to forgive someone. Let's say, you have a really close friend. Isabel was my close friend, and she probably stole my money, or I had to cut her off something. I'll just not trust anybody again regarding money, anything, or have any close friend. You get? I said, I'm cutting Isabel. I'm not forgiving her. I'll probably just, not have trust issues a lot. Or this is very particular to people who have been cheated on a lot, with partners. Let's say it's not, I'm sorry, my dear girl or boy, but you're constantly going from cheating partner to cheating partner. So it just feels like you can never trust anybody. Do you get? So forgiveness does a whole lot for us more than it does for other people. And most of us are living, we're living off unforgiveness, and we do not know certain things you do, certain attitudes you exhibit. It's all because you've not forgiven a particular trauma in your life. Like, I know trauma could be a lot, like, exclusive to whoever we might be talking about. But basically, the way I see forgiveness, now that I'm beginning to understand it better, is, forgiveness is way more about me, myself, and all. So in the Bible, the famous Matthew verse 18, 21, 22, when God says, Jesus said that forgive those, like Jesus said to his disciples, forgive those who sin against you 77 times, 7 times. And basically, it's just like an aggravation, like you should always forgive. Forgiveness should always be your life. It should be your lifestyle. And also in the Lord's Prayer, when it says, and we forgive our trespasses because God has forgiven us, so we should forgive others. So I feel like God wants forgiveness to be a lifestyle because he knows the bad thing it does to us. Like, he knows, God is a God of love, and he wants, love to be our lifestyle. So the reason why you are forgiving this person is for yourself. And there's also a mind shift that reasons why you can't forgive people around you is because you're not able to forgive yourself. This is a very, very true example. So you might be struggling with forgiveness with other people, maybe because you've not been able to forgive yourself for this thing that happened to you, for that thing that happened to you. And that's the truth, honestly. You know how it's easy for you to say, okay, this person betrayed me. Maybe Dorcas did something to betray me, and it's easy for me to just, say, oh, I've forgiven her and cut her off. But you live with yourself. The longest person you have is yourself. You can't cut yourself off. Are you ready to? Because it goes in so many ways. Let's say you were in a friendship where, you were used a lot. I don't know how I put it. You were used a lot, and the reason why you stayed there is because you loved the person and you felt like the person, could be better, and then you just kept allowing yourself be at the detriment of that person. Do you get? When all chips are, when you finally see the whole situation with clear eye and all that, and you're like, nah, I'm going to cut this girl off. You cut her off. Sometimes it keeps ringing in your head. How did I allow myself to be so used by this person? So most of the time, it keeps occurring and occurring again, and you're able to, it's just in your subconscious. You're not able to forgive, let it go. And honestly, the hardest kind of forgiveness is the one you have to do with yourself. Now, I know forgiveness is really a lot. There are different kinds. There are some things people will do to you that, cannot be reversed back and all that, But I feel like it's more like, I'll get to that. So it's more of like how you feel. How did you allow yourself to be used? Like, do you get, like, how did you allow yourself to be used like this? And the fight is actually within yourself and not with that person. This is actually something real, and I know it's not easy. Like, it's very hard. It's all easier said than done. Let it go. People say extend enough grace to extend others. Like, extend enough grace to yourself the way you extend to others. But it's not easy when it is your mind, like you against your mind, you against your emotions. And that's where we have to talk about emotions. Like, most times you're trying to be, unforgiveness is when you're trying to be a slave to your emotions, and you're trying to be a slave to anger, you're trying to be a slave to resentment. Basically all those things are forms of sins, and you're just trying to be a slave to them, and you're not able to let it go, and you just see yourself sad, carrying this weight that was never even meant to be on you, because somebody from nowhere just came and did something to you with a good heart, or someone just came and played games on you, and it's like all of a sudden they've put a problem in you. But I do believe that the truth is, you only give people as much room to hurt you. Like, how people hurt you, it just depends on you. Like, you're able to dictate what you allow hurt you, and that's the truth. So when you learn not to feed so much on your emotions, like, you don't learn to be a slave to your emotion, be a slave to all these feelings, and you just choose to let go, that's when it all starts. So I want to talk particularly on learning to forgive yourself. Like, this is your first time doing this thing called, like, let's say, okay, you just go, this is your first time you're doing this thing called, like, let's say, be in a friendship or whatever. Let's say you made a mistake with someone, the person exhibited habits that you should have known, you should have run away from or something, or this is your first time doing this friendship. This is your first time. It's not your fault that the person was that way. You get. You just need to not be a slave to your emotion and know that this it doesn't honestly define you. The situation, maybe what was done to you, the things that was said to you by someone, all those things do not define you. You are not what they say about you. I really hope we are able to have a form of liberation and know that bad things in life have happened to us, but we are not going to tap into resentment and all the frustration and all the anger that those things give. We are going to let it go. We are going to let it go, basically, and not carry those burdens on us. So most times, just about the rage you have within yourself, all that. So that's a whole lot, and what forgiveness does to you, and struggling with forgiving yourself. This is your first time doing life. Like, this is your first time being 25. This is your first time being 24. This is your first time being 30. Like, just let it go. Like, if just try your very best. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's very possible to do when you live knowing that you are stronger than your emotions and you are more than your emotions, and you don't let this emotion beat you, that's to your chest. So, forgiveness also, when we embrace forgiveness as a lifestyle, there's a certain change that comes with it. It's when we don't let these things get to us and we choose love as a language. So, how everyone knows the story of Nelson Mandela, how he was fighting, he was imprisoned in jail because he was fighting for, human rights and everything. So finally, apparently, he came out and, he didn't choose to use the whole, get back at people for locking him up or because he was doing something that was good, for the society. Instead, apparently, he started a Truth and Reconciliation Commission where people that inflict on people's human rights and the abusers will come and then they'll just confess and everything. Totally out of context, but that's how forgiveness could be used as a form of change. When forgiveness, do you know that there's something about when you just frankly forgive people? Like, we'll be like, who made this Jesus? Like, forgiveness actually brings out change. Oh yeah, because what unforgiveness wants to do is that it wants to put you in a cage. So, but when you choose not to let it overwhelm you, like, there's just a change, and there's just a change, basically. Honestly, the concept of forgiveness is not the easiest. That's why I feel like when it comes to forgiveness, you really need God. You really need a really strong God factor. Like, it's not easy to forgive if you don't know God. Like, that's the truth, and that's on period. Like, if you don't know God, you can't just forgive, because what are you forgiving? But like, when there's like a God factor in it, and you are able to allow God to restore what was broken, because forgiveness, when people do things to you, there's a lot of brokenness and all that, but when you're able to seek the face of God and there's kind of like a restoration, you get, like, you really need the God factor to forgive, because how on earth will you forgive someone that just did this to you? But like God said, it's more about, not like God said, but like, it's more about you than it is about the other person. And because you don't want to be a slave to these emotions, you just try your best to forgive and let it go. So I just feel like, why I said entering the second half of the year, like, I just feel like someone needs to know this. Someone needs to embrace forgiveness as a garment, be it to other people, be it to yourself. There's so much about forgiveness to yourself that should be talked about a lot. Like, it's not easy to forgive yourself. Like, you don't get, when somebody does something to you, and you're like, Chidera, smarter than this.
the epiphany, when you rethink about it later, it just is in your mind and you're like, wow. So I just hope we're able to forgive ourselves, because this is our first time doing life. Mistakes are inevitable. I know it's easy to say, it's very easy now when they break your heart, or maybe when they steal from you just say, cut that off. But you're the one living with the trauma. You're the one living, if it was, let me say, verbal abuse, you're the one living with those thoughts. You're the one living with those actions. When somebody exhibits certain levels of disrespect, like there's just a whole lot to this. Do you get? So I just hope you're able to know, that those words are not you, basically. So I want to talk about the ego. How the ego is like a spirit animal. When we talk about the spirit, talk about the ego, and we rise like an eagle and soar, basically. So the ego represents freedom and healing, and that's what forgiveness is about. When you let go of this hurt that has been put before you, when you free yourself, that you're not going to allow anger consume you, unforgiveness consume you, you're going to put it aside. You're just going to be free and you heal. Like, another thing, forgiveness is accept. Like, see this hurt, see it in the eye. Like, I don't know if I should give steps to forgiveness, but you can't forgive if you do not embrace. Like, you need to embrace before you forgive. Like, you need to fall before you have to stand up. Do you get? Sorry, when you fall, you need to acknowledge that there's a wound before you heal. Like, you can't just say, I think there's a wound. You won't know the parts, the wound. Do you get? So you need to I know you guys get. Basically, you need to embrace it, and that's how you heal. When you've talked about it, you faced it, and then you heal all of a sudden. I just pray in the second half of the year, we embrace forgiveness as a garment, whether it be to others or to be to ourselves, knowing that we are not meant to swallow, we are not meant to embody or swallow the hurt, pain and anger, but we're able to just let it go. And so yes guys, I felt like there's a need forgiveness, just basically letting it go, the anger, the frustration. Some people are even holding on to things that were said to them 5 years ago, by this, by that. Like, let's talk about maybe family hurt, friendship hurt that might have really affected you some way. Probably what your parents did. I know it's very hard. Like, I'm not going to be insensitive saying, oh, just do this. Probably you should go to God. Let's say you're healing from trauma, what your parents said to you, what was done to you. Like, those things are not you. Those things will not define you. You are so much greater than that. You are so much better than that. And I hope you do not allow these things keep dictating your life year after year. You let go of it. And know that it's not you. There's so much to this. There's a whole lot to this. But I just really hope that we've been able to be transformed with this little point of mine. Like, apart from friendship, hurt, disrespect, some people are actually going through trauma from parents or even friends. Like, and they've not been able to forgive, and that's why it's affecting them now. When you're able to forgive and let go, know that your emotions are not you. You tap into a form, your spirit, and know that you are higher than these things. Emotions are down. Like, emotions don't go up. Emotions are just, emotions are with flesh. It's really hard to talk about forgiveness and talk about God, because it's God that brings about forgiveness, honestly. I just hope that anyone listening to this struggling with forgiveness finds their way to healing and finds their way to liberation. Amen. So guys, I usually do not do this, but I just want to hear your story. And I hope you feel comfortable with sharing your story with me. So if you feel like there's something more to there's something more to forgiveness you want to talk about, or give a particular situation of why it has been hard forgiving this person, I am willing and I am here to listen. If you have my number, you can text me, or you could send me an email or you could also text me on my podcast Instagram page, because I know I might do a part 2 of this. This is so much deep. Like, I prepared what to say, but thinking about it, like, it's so much deeper, So you can just probably share with me, and I promise I am going to listen and share, and help you to the best of my knowledge. Like I said, we're basically figuring out this life thing together. Hold my hand and let's go. So guys, this is really, I feel like I'm going to do a part. I'm going to have a guest. I'm going to talk about this better. So maybe you guys should expect a part 2 of this, hopefully. But just basically, let me know if there's any parts you're struggling with, and I am going to listen to you, honestly. So we finally come to the end of the episode. I'm honestly thinking for a tribe name to give her. I don't know. I'm feeling very down. Not like down, but there's just a whole lot of forgiveness. Like, do you get? Like, I've realized, but I'm just realizing as I'm recording this episode, like, so much more. But I do feel like we should have a tribe name, But I think I'll talk about, I think we should have a tribe name. So what do you guys think too about that? So just text me, honestly, if you have something you want to share, or just throw more light on forgiveness and all that. So see you guys same time next week. Bye.